Jaa, juba tervise, kui me alustasime.
So when we started with the welcoming speeches, because then there was a lot of discussion about the situation we have, we heard about different figures and trends, so you will understand that this picture is not going to be very nice. To start, first of all, I will discuss what it is, what we consider drugs. So on this circle, we have two arrows. And so if we talk about drugs, that covers both nicotine and alcohol. But this is an illustration because if we talk about alcohol and nicotine, then regardless what kind of forms it's been packaged, then the substance is ethanol or nicotine. But now, if you look at the rest of the circle, then you can see 6 different categories, how the drugs can be categorized. So how they have an impact on neural systems and functions. So this we have stimulants, depressants, downers, opioids. So we can see there was quite a lot of variation. So if you think that this includes all the illegal drugs, that know that this is only a tiny part of them. In the center, this is a category which is the new psychoactive substances, and there you can see only few of them listed. So this is, our forensics have found them as well, that these exist in Estonia. In our drug market. And then we can see that we are fighting not with the 100-head dragon, but again, there's a lot of them. If we talk about illegal drugs, we don't know what's inside and what is the exact impact. If ethanol and nicotine, we have had years of research and we more or less know of the harm to health and everything which comes with it. So, but indeed, there is a lot of unknown, and this is, we don't really know what to do with yet. So the first question always is that what it is that people are using when it comes to drugs. And I look at the study of the water, and so this is a methodology we use. So this is a chemically objective answer of what we found in the wastewater of Tallinn. So because if there's wastewater has drugs, then it has to be quite a bit because that, like a single dose will not show up. Alcohol is in liters because otherwise it would not fit on the graph here. So this is ethanol, nicotine and cannabis. I also have to say that they might think that cannabis is being used more than nicotine. It is not so, because if we look at the methodology of this research, then nicotine, one dose is 1.25 milligrams, and for cannabis is 125 milligrams. So it's 100-fold difference. So if we distribute into dosage, then nicotine is definitely wider spread than cannabis. Now, talking about illegal drugs, then here this comparison is appropriate. Cannabis is definitely most common. We can see it more and more often. And what has been a trend a few years is amphetamine. Now cocaine is surpassed amphetamine. And in 2023, we received the results from the forensics from our cooperation partners, and cocaine growth trend is very much there. So why we can't say, if we study wastewater, how many people use drugs? Then the answer is very simple. So in principle, we don't know, because every person who uses drugs, they have their own dosage. Some people are addicted. So what we can calculate is into dosage, but we cannot really consider how many people are involved. And when it comes to wastewater, we don't really know who was in that place for that time period, because we have tourism and all that. So for that purpose, we have other epidemiological research methods which try to give us an answer. How common is this use? So I'll start with alcohol first. And I can say that 84% of the population 16 to 64 use alcohol. And positive here is that 64%, that 19% does not use at all, and 64% are low-risk users, and probably it's not going to cause any issues for them. 20% we can see are abusers, and we have statistical information for them as well. 16% is a danger level. So over the last 7 days, they have used it more than gender-based low-risk limit, which is lower for women and higher for men. Then we have a very high percentage of the episode-based. So more than 6 units are used once a week or more often than that. So this is also not good. If we look at the timeline, then you can see that for men, we can see that the abusers numbers has gone down if you look at 2012, but for women, we can't see this increase, but this is more or less stable. For women, you can also see that if we where the stability and slight increases come from is that if you look at the types of alcohol, then wine drinking from 2016 onwards has increased, and a few times a week or more often. So this is the regular use, which is becoming more commonplace. Young people and alcohol. So now looking at the slides here, this is a positive message. So 11 to 15-year-olds, then we have less those who have used in their lifetime, who has been intoxicated, but there's no cause to rejoice, because next we'll talk about the illegal drugs, and this has been a theory that a lot of young people have replaced alcohol with illegal drugs. Cigarettes, every year we can see that this is a downwards trend, and this is based on our successful smoking policy, that the regular cigarettes are becoming less and less popular. But there is no vacuum in nature. So this slide is not going to be very positive either, because we have alternative nicotine products, which was mentioned by the previous speakers as well. So this was initially meant for, because they were advertised as something which should help you to quit smoking. But if you look at the statistics of young people and general population, then instead of giving up tobacco products, it gave a lot of people idea to start with these alternative products. So the younger the person is, the more likely they've started with alternative nicotine products. And over the last few years, you can see a sharp increase. If you talk about young people, then looks like this alternative tobacco products are attractive for young girls, and this marketing trick is, and this is how it works. And if you talk about this age group, then their brain has not fully developed yet, and this addictive behavior will be forever with them. It's a very sound reality. Now, next we'll talk about drugs. Then the use of drugs, because it's an illegal activity, so therefore you cannot find this clear information. And we carry out different research to put this information together to find out what the situation is like. But if you now look at the major research, then they are quite expensive and they take a lot of time. But rush ahead, then I can say the 2018 survey. But we also have 5-year interval new survey coming up. So 2023, we have recent data. And Rain Laane mentioned these figures as well. So about a quarter of Estonian adults have used this substance during their life. If it says during their lifetime, you might hope that it's been used once, maybe tried out, experimented, which is a natural interest. But if we look at the young people study of 2021, and which is a good representative population, then what is particular here, it is included vocational school kids, and we can see that 31% of the age group 14 to 18 have used drugs. So we can also see that these are not single use, and we can see that quite many of them have done it many times, and they were actually talking about children here. So 15 years of age, and cannabis is the most common. So out of it concerns the adult population and also young people. But when it comes to young people, there are several surveys where we find out that the inhalers they use compared to many other European countries. So all this petrol and solvents and sprays and glue, this is a worrying trend as well. So across the years, so we should not really this is not only the whole population, but this is the people who have used it. So we can see the repeated use has gone up, so now it's 75. But here we have vocational schools and gymnasium classes both. So this slide is also concerning. So now this is the most difficult part, mortality related to drug use. When it comes to alcohol, 2019 showed a trend upwards, drug-related toxicity deaths. As of 2018, we thought that we managed to stabilize the situation, that we're not ranking among the first ones in Europe, but unfortunately, because of this new niacins, due to the niacins on the Estonian market showed a growth trend. So this is sad. But if we look at the situation in September, then we have had more than 2022 drug deaths. Mostly it's niacins. 50 are niacin related out of 90, mostly protoniacin and metaniacin. And there are a few cases of isoniacins as well. And what I wanted to mention here is that right now we have 6 deaths, 17 to 22. There's very young people. And I can say that recently the news are telling us that this figure is going up as well. So these very young deaths will increase. I listed also the substances. So as you can see that 18-year-old male protoniacin, 17-year-old fentanyl death. So these are very strong synthetic opioids, and people don't know how to dose them, even people who have been injecting drugs for a very long time. So the correct dosage is different. How the young people get them, do they know what they're taking? Because for drugs, the people don't really know what they're using. So this is a concerning statistics. And to conclude, this is very brief, that not using addictive substances, because if we look at the other side of it, then we can say that most people in Estonia do not use any illegal drugs, do not smoke on a daily basis, and they don't have an alcohol problem. But at the same time, we know why we're here today. So the problem is about these young people and adults who are continuing the use, and it's getting worse and worse. So which concerns morbidity issues for the healthcare sector. So this is a financial pressure and dysfunctional families and so forth. And then we talk about deaths. So if you look across the years, then counting the drug deaths over 2,000, you can see the age group. These are very young people. So Estonia is so small. So we lose these young people who should live for a long time, and these are avoidable deaths. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much. We have a whole host of questions. And the most popular are about vaping and young people, prevention at schools. But this question is going to be for the parallel session, so because this is about youth prevention. There are two very specific questions. So when we talk about the use of drugs and alcohol, is it seasonal? Have you noticed that? And the second one, so did you find in wastewater synthetic catechinoids, alpha PFP content? So yes, indeed, the last question, the synthetic alpha BVP, we have checked for it. It does exist in the wastewater in Tallinn because we do it in regional basis. Then it's not everywhere, but in the wastewater in Tallinn, we have alpha BVP and also find protonacin. When I talk about the seasonality, then indeed, we don't really have seasonal studies, but the wastewater is an indication which shows us, especially in the Ministry of Justice, they do quarterly surveys. During the summer, there is parties and entertainment. Then drugs, both legal and illegal, so we can see alcohol is more widespread and so forth. And now there was another question. If you look at the regionality, so in Estonia, Harju County and northeast Estonia, are they still in the front line when we talk about alcohol and narcotic substances? Yes, indeed, it can be said so, especially when it comes to illegal drugs. And if you look at the statistics of mortality regionally, then Harju County is ahead, and then northeast Estonia follows. So this is a regional focus, both for prevention and treatment. So thank you very much, and we'll continue.